the gold in these boom towns and gold rush towns. What else we got? Gold and what? Letter G. Gas. Gas, obviously, the biggest industry. I should say natural resource extraction. That's kind of a blanket term for the mining, the crude oil that comes out of Alaska. Certainly the main industry here, producing hundreds of millions of dollars every year. What else we got? So girls, gas, gold, granite. Yeah, you're getting a little bit closer. So granite has to do with gems. Okay, we're right along kind of the geology. The word I was thinking of was kind of the geography. And we're located at the very, very top of the Inside Passage that runs really 1,000 miles up from Seattle. And what Skagway offered was basically a gateway between the waterways when this massive gold rush occurred, this crazy human migration that I'll get into today, the Klondike Gold Rush more specifically. I'll get into plenty of history about the gold rush, telling you a little bit what made it such a really interesting event. I can also talk about the history of the town. I'll also get into 3 kind of colorful characters in Skagway history. But for now, you're obviously seeing the rail over here. This is what's known as a summit train. So the first train that leaves right about 7:30, a couple miles out of town. That's known as the Bennett train. So that actually goes about 70 miles down the track. Your Fraser train will go about 28 or 29. And these summit trains do just that. They go right to the summit and then they turn around and come back down. So this morning they'll have kind of 5 northbound trains. Those will flip around and then they'll come back down. One interesting thing, and I'm not going to talk too much about the train, you'll get a little bit of narration and history on your train ride, but one quick look, you may see it look a little bit interesting with those tracks. It is a narrow gauge track, so it's only 3 feet wide instead of the standard gauge, which would be 4 foot 8.5 inches. And they did that for a couple different reasons. One was that they only needed to lay about 10 feet of flat rail bed to lay that track, and obviously it doesn't seem like a big deal here because it's flat, but when you see where the rail goes, it's basically built to the side of a mountain. You'll realize that saved a lot of time, a lot of money, and frankly, a lot of dynamite, really. The other reason that narrow gauge track worked was it allowed them to corner a little bit easier. Once again, you're going to see it's not a wild ride, but it's a very, very enjoyable ride. Ooh, one thing I should point out. Okay, one of the things you can do when you get back into town, right about 2:15 or 2:30, that I would highly suggest, that only happens for 4 or 5 weeks during the summer, is our pink salmon run. And if you look along the right side here, look in that little stream, you're probably going to see a couple little fins coming up. And frankly, when we come back into town, you'll see plenty of people huddled around over there watching the pink salmon, really on their last leg, so to speak. It is the very tail end of the salmon run, and we only have one type of salmon that runs here in town. Those are the pinks. Not exactly the most desirable of the salmon for kind of feeding purposes, but certainly if you haven't ever seen a salmon run, it's a pretty incredible occurrence that I could sit there and watch it for an hour or so. These are one of the things that I can suggest that you do when you arrive back here in town, because you will have a decent amount of time to spend in town. When's your all aboard time? Oh yeah, so you have, that's right, you're the Sapphire. My parents were on the Sapphire. I think